My name is McDonnell. My dad and I own STL Shirt Company. It's been, what, 12 years now that we've been kind of rolling at that. We've grown quite a bit since then. We now have 4 automatics and 1 manual. The SAATI laser, the Zettner, and we've got 30 heads of embroidery as well. So it's been pretty fun. We do actually use quite a bit of SAATI products. We use we have the LTS 8012 for the unit. We use the PHUHR emulsion. We also have the Zettner speed line for reclaim, and with that reclaim we use the IR29 for the ink remover and the ER13 for the emulsion remover. We use Printavo as our main software management system for calendar, and we had used EPS files for the iMage to rip the images, and we had no transition problems. Once we moved over to the LTS, we didn't have to go back and resave anything. All of our files from M&R worked perfectly. So the transition was great, and the screens were 1,000 times better right off the bat, right? So there was no issues with inking or blotting or anything that we had. It just was a laser, and it went right to screens, and it was perfect every time. During COVID, we had to buy special ink, and they had ran out of it, right? So with people buying up and the supply chain issues, the ink was getting harder to come by, and we were concerned that we couldn't burn screens. And if we can't burn screens, we can't make shirts. So that was my first concern, and so then when we ran into that issue, I started looking at alternatives. We talked to another shop that had purchased a laser, and he brought me down there and showed it to me, and he said, hey, this is the way to go, and I was convinced right then. The laser unit doesn't have any consumables. We basically just plugged it in and pressed go, and it just started using the laser to burn screens, and it was wonderful from that point on. So we didn't have to worry about ordering supplies. We don't have to buy anything to burn screens besides the emulsion. So that's a big savings there. So we have doubled the size of our company every year since we've installed that LTS. So, and I truly believe that that machine has helped us do that. The install was incredibly easy. So it's one machine, and it fits through a doorway, which is important, right? So our old machine, we actually had to cut a doorway open to get it out and get it back in. So this machine fit perfectly through a doorway. Uncrating was also simple. We got it out. We luckily have a forklift here, so we were able to just pop it up off the lift, put it down, and then roll it. It's on wheels, which is also rare with machines these days. So we rolled it into the screen room, and we plugged it in. After that, SAATI was there to do the install. Once we plugged it in and had the software talking to ours, we were burning screens within probably about 2 o'clock that day of the install of the same day. So startup now with an LTS is incredibly easy. We simply select the button to open up the cover on the front of the machine, and we press go. Compared to before, when we used to have to purge the machine, throw a cleaning solution through it, uncap it, wait for it to load and make sure all the cleaning solution was out, then reload the ink. That process usually took about a half an hour or so to make sure that machine was ready. That's compared to now we're just a few minutes. When the install happened, we set up, I believe, 2 or 3 main image placement areas for our screens. What we do is, since we use Printavo for our calendar and shop management, we download the Ripper files. Those get brought into the software, and then we basically just click and drag them into a certain placement. So we've got full chest placement, left chest placement, or 2 image placement, which we don't hardly use 2 image anymore because it's just easy to make 1 screen for 1 image. So we take the download image and we bring it to the first screen, bring the second image to the second screen, press go, and it starts creating the screens. The archive of those existing files is awesome. So it makes reorders go from hours to minutes. We can be printing a reorder in just a few minutes. So when we did the install, we did linearize, and we printed out a cool shirt, something I've never really even seen before, which it had, what was it, 1 through 100 on the different levels of shading we could get and dot pattern we could get, detail. And so we still have that shirt. It's a real big, probably 15 by 15 print that we put on a shirt to see what different shading would look like, and our art crew uses it all the time. So, and actually it's a good tool for the sales rep as well. So we have it up front, we show it, people say, hey, here's what 80% would look like, here's what this halftone looks like. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's really a cool screen that we've kept and used for our sales and art crew. We did have a lot of detail issues with our previous screen imager. The gain on the ink, every time, especially in our shop, we have a humid shop. When we printed ink onto the screen, it would spread occasionally, and with that, the detail of the image would go down. We'd have white poke through on the underbase. there was a lot of issues caused by that gain of ink that would be printed on the screen that no longer happen with the laser. Screens rejected has gone down to almost zero. With the detail that we get with the laser, it's almost perfect every time. The only time we get rejected screens is if there's an actual art issue. Everything else, we hardly have any pinholes with the emulsion we use. Exposure times are dialed in, so we really don't have any rejected screens because of screen error. We were making about 80 screens a day before with the M&R image. Currently, I think we're close to 175 to 120 screens a day. And we got room to spare, right? So they can I think push 200, 250 screens easy. I know the Zettner Speedline, that allows us, right now they're running 150 to 175 through that machine a day. And I've heard, and we haven't yet had to put it to the test, but I've heard it can do up to 400 a shift. So we're excited to try that. Usually August through the end of the year is our busy season. So the laser has exceeded all demands, right? So every time we need more screens, the laser's there, and it's perfect. And the cool thing about the laser is it can do 2 screens at a time as well. So we put 2 screens in instead of waiting for one. It takes about 2 minutes, so we're still at a minute a screen, so we can get quite a few done. But yeah, we're excited. August comes, we're gonna try to push it. We'll see if we can get 200 or 300 screens a day out of our shop. That should be pretty easy. We used to kind of shy away from halftone jobs because we just weren't very good at it, right? And we knew that the gain on the dot would really kind of end up having the image be a little funky. Now we've kind of had to retrain the art crew and say, hey, we can do this. Let's try the cool halftone jobs. Let's try the simulated process, and we have been trying it, which has been awesome. We do a shirt of the month for our company, an STL Shirt Co. shirt for all the employees, and we kind of throw a challenge out there and say, hey, create some cool artwork, right? So let's do something we don't normally do. Let's try a water-based job. Let's try a halftone job. And we've done 2 or 3 shirts with those, and the quality that we've got and from experimenting and trying with the new screens has been awesome, and that's all thanks to the laser. The employees love the LTS machine. Biggest benefit to them is the accuracy, right? So it lines up perfectly with our Tri-Lock system. We actually have both presses. We have M&R and Rock, so they both use the Tri-Lock system. We've got a Rock pallet that kind of lines up perfectly. So we use the same 3 points of contact on all 4 of our presses. And with that laser unit, we lined it up and calibrated it right to those presses. So from day one, we were able to lock those screens in, line them up on press, and putting a 10 or 13 color job up is no problem. It takes us 10, 15 minutes to do all that. And with the unit, it lines up perfectly every time. Second thing they love is the quickness to reburn, right? So if there's an issue with the screen or they find something on press that needs a new screen, they can have another screen set out and then back on the press within 5 minutes. Basically with burning it only takes a minute to burn a screen. We can wash it out and dry it out real quick, and they can have that back on a head within a few minutes. So it's probably hard to tell, but I can tell that we're getting more jobs done, right? So I don't know if it's quantifiable, but we're setting up and tearing down more jobs because the screens are lining up perfectly every time. There's no errors in the screens. Usually, even if it's a high detail job, it sets up perfectly, and with that laser, the detail's incredible. So to me, we can print more jobs during the day because of this unit, and I'm sure our profit has gone up because of that. We are experiencing a reduction of day-to-day costs with this machine. We had previously 2 or 3 people in the screen room when we had run an eye image. Now we've got 1 person in that room. Jay, he's our screen guy. He can burn screens in the morning, usually get about 100 to 150 done by lunchtime. He coats the next batch after that, and then he's going through and checking the reclaim after that. So we've got 1 guy running compared to 3, and the cost savings there has been quite a bit. The LTS 8012 requires 0 maintenance. It requires some, but to me it's almost 0 compared to our old machine. The only thing we really ever have to do is to clean the lasers every once in a while. You'll notice when the screens take a little bit longer to expose that it's probably because there's a dirty laser. It's not getting enough light to it. So we go through, we take a little cloth and we wipe off all the lasers, we clean them off. Usually after a few minutes of doing that, we're back to burning screens in no time. The experience with the lasers has been great. We've had the machine 2 years. We've yet to replace a laser in that machine. And we really just kind of keep them cleaned and dusted off, and it's been great. My rep with SAATI has been incredible. He did perform the install on both of my machines that I've done. We've got the laser unit and the Zettner unit. Dave was super knowledgeable, and I thought that was incredibly important because SAATI, they care about it, and he was here every day helping us get it installed and had it running. If things ever show up with issues or if there's any problems, SAATI's right there on support. So technical support for the LTS has been incredible. We deal with Eric over there, and he picks up the phone every time, right? So that's the biggest deal. I believe we have Eric's cell phone, and whether we're supposed to have that or not, I don't know. But every time we call him, he answers, and he is immediately on it, no matter what he's doing. So he remotes in to our computer if we have an issue. He does some digging and figures out what the problem is, and he's usually fixing it within a few minutes. We have yet to been down for an extended period of time with this machine. I'd like to give a shout out to them. I love working with SAATI. It's very easy for our company to deal with them. I fully attribute our growth to efficiency with the SAATI machines that we have in our shop. If I was going to endorse a machine, I would only endorse the SAATI LTS 8012. We've gone from vellum to the eye image, and then we've gone from the eye image to this, and the change has been incredible. Any shop that's asking me for direct-to-screen advice, I would strongly recommend the LTS unit from SAATI.